Hi there, and welcome to another one of our release videos. My name is Dirk Leroy, I'm with Ucamco in Ghent, and today I'm going to show you around our Integr8tor Nexus version 2025.06. Now, as I have done previously, I'm going to do this using, on the one hand, this PowerPoint, just to take us through the highlights, and on the other hand, and from time to time, we will be jumping to the application to show a number of features that are being demonstrated in the software itself. Now, if we start on the PowerPoint side, this is the slide with the highlights for this version. It features OAuth2 authorization for email input. There are a number of Nexus Job Manager / Job Adjuster extensions that I would like to show you. We have reworked the edge connector algorithms to pick up edge and gold connectors. And from the admin's corner, there is upgrades for Apache Tomcat and the WMIC, or WMIC as it is sometimes called, the WMIC to PowerShell migration. Right, first and foremost, OAuth2 authorization for email inputs. Email input into Integr8tor is nothing new. It has existed for a very long time. But what is new is that as of this version, we offer support to access your Microsoft cloud-based email infrastructure. That means if you are a tenant of the Business Basic, Business Standard, Business Premium, or one of these three enterprise E1, E3, and E4 subscriptions with Microsoft, then from now on, you can actually set up your Integr8tor to go and collect its emails from Microsoft, so from the cloud-based email server that you have. The way this is done with this OAuth2 is OAuth2 is basically an open standard platform that grants, let's say, third-party applications, in this case, an Integr8tor server, access to features on the service being, in this case, the email service from the Microsoft platform. So really what this does, or what this enables you to do, is, as we said, from now on, your Integr8tor is going to be able to collect emails with data from an Microsoft email server. The subscriptions that are not supported, as you can see here in this last point from the first list, this is not working for personal accounts, nor is it working for accounts that require multi-factor authorization. That seems sort of logical. This is something that needs to work or needs to operate server to server without any intervention. You cannot have a web page popping up every time that the Integr8tor is going to go over to the server, and that you are required to do some authentication. That would be really not the purpose of the exercise. So that's why these two types of accounts, the personal accounts and the accounts with multi-factor authorization, are not covered by this scheme. This authorization framework is actually something quite nice, in the sense that in view of enhanced security and the need to be as sure as possible in every sort of way, this framework, this authorization framework, does not pass on any usernames or passwords. So that adds an extra layer of security, which is nowadays something we all found very, very important. In the release notes, you will find some schematic which explains a little bit more. If you're interested or care to read about this, make sure to have a look at there how this system works. But again, it's nothing from us, it's nothing from Microsoft. It's basically an independent framework which is there for applications to use to get access between a client application and some service. This option, this OAuth2 authorization, comes free of charge under the maintenance contracts. but that is, of course, if you are already a user of email input. So the email input integrator email input feature must be there. But if that is the case and you have your software under maintenance, then this OAuth 2 authorization comes free of charge. Now, having said that, it does take some setting up, both on the Microsoft side and on the integrator side. The integrator side is probably the smaller part. The most important bit has to be done on the Microsoft side. So what you need to do there is you need to create a sort of app, and then you have to grant sort of permissions to the API and a number of things. And although we don't want to make this sort of IT course in here, in the next couple of slides, I just want to show you some of the screenshots taken from the Microsoft Azure so that you know what to expect and how this thing is more or less ticking. Having said that, it's going to be important, and probably the best people or the people in the best position to do this will probably be the people from your IT department, all the more so because you will need admin level sort of rights when you're going to set this up on the Microsoft side. So basically what we want to do is you want to go to the Azure portal, which is portal.azure.com, and that will bring you to the page more or less as you see it here in front of you. And from there, what you're going to do is you search for app registration. So there is a central part here at the top bottom. If you type in app registrations, that will show you a list of things. And the one that is called app registrations, that's the one that you want to pick up. And what you're going to do is you will have to what I call register this application. And one of the things that this application that you're going to make needs is a name. And in this example here, it's called Outlook Email Fetcher. But as I said, this is just an example name. This can be anything. It's just something for you to identify towards the outside what this is. Internally, this will work with an ID, and for the rest, the name is of not much relevance here. So if we stick to this sample, Outlook Email Fetcher is going to name of our application that we're going to create. One of the things that will be asked on this page is the supported account types. There you go for the accounts in this organizational directory only. You can leave the redirect URI empty, not relevant for this case. And at the bottom of this page, you click register. So this will have registered your application called Outlook Email Fetcher. And on the next page that you will jump to, you are going to see the items that you see highlighted here in this screenshot. And two of the important ones there are the application or the client ID and the directory or the tenant ID. Why are they important? Those are items that will have to go into the integrator server setup. So the other part of this setup will require, amongst others, these numbers. There's alphanumeric chain of I don't know how many characters, and that's something that you will need to copy and set aside so that you can later on put them into the integrator setup in the I'm trying to remember in the user preferences, sorry. So application ID and directory ID. On the same page still, what you will do next is you will move to the section certificates and secrets. And what you're going to do there is after clicking this part, you're going to be invited to create a new client secret. Client secret is a sort of, you could say, a key that is going to allow integrator servers to have access to the Microsoft email server. And that key, for security reasons, is something that is going to have to be renewed at certain stages. So in the next, or on the next page, sorry, the one that we see here, again, you're going to be asked to give a description for this client secret. So it's a sort of name that you want to give it. In our example here, we have called it Integr8tor secret. And then you must choose from a list of possible options about expiration. So that's the time this key is going to be valid for Integr8tor to be able to access the Microsoft email server. Beyond that period, so in this case, in the example here, it's 6 months. Beyond that period, the secret key is no longer valid, so it expires, and it will take IT person of your company to go to Azure portal again and to make sure that this secret key gets renewed. So somehow there's going to be like a renewal of this key every, in this case, 6 months. So that's something that the IT people will have to make a note of, that before this expiration is due, that they are moving to create a new secret key and then to update the Integr8tor installation accordingly. So now that you have given this the name and you have chosen the type of expiration, you're going to come to this screen where you will want to copy the client secret ID and value. That's the line that you see at the bottom there, the name that we've given it, or the description rather, Integr8tor secret. And then value is the most important one, because that too is going to go into the Integr8tor setup. This is the type of sequence of characters that you can expect also for the other two that we were mentioning, the tenant and then the first one. I'm forgetting the name. So that's a sequence of characters which looks pretty much like the one that you see highlighted in yellow here. So we have our applications, we have the secret key. What comes next? Now we have to set API permissions. This Integr8tor server and Microsoft server, the email part, are going to talk via an API. There's different APIs possible, and the one that we are using here for this, for our application, for the Integr8tor link, is called Microsoft Graph. So what you will do is you will move in the left column to the API permissions, and then you're going to click the Add a Permission, as you see there in the red box. And then from the list of possible ways of requesting these permissions, you're going to select Microsoft Graph. Once you have done that, the next screen will ask for application permissions. The next screen will invite you to choose between delegate permissions and application permissions, and the one that you want is the application permissions. At the bottom, if we go back, sorry, at the bottom you say add permissions, and then you will end up here in the section. You're now going to have to add the things, what it is that the API, so the integrator talking to Microsoft email server, what sort of items that Integr8tor is allowed to do. So what you will do at the top section in your select permissions, fill out a filter mail. That's going to be the easiest. And then you will get here a list of items that all have to do with mail. You tick mail read, you tick mail.read write, and then you do a mail.send. And apart from the mail, you also want to do something with user. So you go to the section user, or again, you filter for user. And from that list of items which all relate or start with user, you want to tick the user.read.all. So with the 3 from the first page and this one, I think we have in total, we have 4. And at that point, you say add permissions. And if all goes well, you're going to, this is in case you would be thrown out or thrown away to the beginning. You navigate back following these instructions, but normally you should basically find yourself again on the page that you were before. Now with the list of API permissions that used to be empty, In this list, you should now see the ones that you have been adding. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in total, the ones that you see here. However, even though that they are in the list at the back end here, the last column you say not granted for, and then in this case UCAMCO NV. So the next thing that you will want to do is you will want to grant admin consent for UCAMCO NV. So all these exclamation marks here in front of these words or these phrases, they should disappear the moment that you do grant admin consent for UCAMCO NV. If you do this, you will be asked for confirmation, and when you have done this confirmation, this is what the box should look like. You would now have the green check mark in or for all of these items. We have taken the client ID, the tenant ID, and then the secret from the relevant screens at the time that you were doing this. So these three pieces of information will actually have to go in user preferences. To make life a little bit easier, and if all goes well, I'm going to go through Alt-Tab here. In this version, what you will see is in system preferences.xml, there is this node, which is basically disabled. It's set to false, but it has the keys in there that you need to set this up, apart from, of course, the client ID, the tenant, and the client secret, which are the values that you have taken or that you have received or copied while you were doing the setup in the in Microsoft Azure. But other than that, this node does exist in system preferences. So what you want to do is you want to copy out the complete node from system preferences.xml, and you want to bring them into user preferences.xml. Yeah, the place where you put them in is not relevant in users preferences.xml. Just make sure that you have a clean start and stop from the node definition Outlook server with these items in there. You fill out the three items that you collected from Azure, and then you save it and you stop or you restart your integrator server. At that point, your integrator will show in the web server console a number of messages, and with the debug, if you would put the debug on here, like in this case, it is true, you will see that it will launch a message every, I don't know, 30 seconds or whatever interval that you have defined in here to do the polling. And so from that point onwards, your integrator is going to communicate with the Microsoft email server in order to collect the emails. No, sorry, one thing I forget. You must, of course, specify the email address on the Microsoft side, the email address where the integrator server is supposed to collect the emails from. Yeah. Other than that, you can just leave these other keys with their default value. That should be fine. Don't forget to put the active one at true if you want to use this. Okay. Oh, now that seems a lot of things which are nothing to do with data and nothing to do with PCB. So this might be a bit overwhelming still. There is a link in the release notes to a PDF document, which repeats more or less what I have said here. And it may be helpful in case you want to look up something or you're not sure about this, that, or the other. And of course, if all else fails, there is this group of marvelous people at the hotline, which will make anything work. So if you really get stuck or you don't manage to set this up the way you want, just feel free to reach out to them, and they will be happy to help. Right, so far for the IT part in this presentation. Over to something that has really to do with the, let's say, the core functionality of Integr8tor and Nexus. And that is this list of extensions that we sorry, are introducing with this version. Nexus was new in the end of last year release. And since then, based on feedback and just also based on further developments that we do, there are a number of things that we have included in this 2025.06 release. And one of them is the ability to specify the board thickness from the layers editor. The idea is that we make layers editor a one-stop shop for everything that has to do with stacking up the board. I know that from time to time the stack up is not correct. If you have to correct this, you want to be in layers editor. If the color of a solder mask, which defaulted to green, turns out to be having to be red or blue or whatever, then again, layers editor is one of the places where you could and would do this. If you're working with copper thicknesses, then basically that's also something, layer copper thicknesses that is, that's basically also something that would be done from the layers editor. So really the layers editor is there to cater for everything that has to do or is related in some way to the board stack up. The reason behind this is that we want to make sure that the cycle times, the job cycle times, are as short as possible. And of course, that means that you want to do as few reprocesses as possible, because each time that you want to change a parameter, the potential is that part of the analysis will be redone, and that adds to the total processing time of a job. So therefore, we are currently looking at industrializing all of this and bringing all of these functions together in a logical place where they belong. And this bringing the board thickness into the layers editor is basically just one of the examples. If we want to have a look at this live, this is our Nexus. I am in a job adjuster mode. The same would be true for a job manager, of course, with always the same reservation. In a job manager environment, you're able to just see, so you would see what board thickness has been given, either from a default or from somebody else who's already worked on the job. But as a job manager, you would not be able to save it. Yeah? Only job adjusters can go and make modifications to changes. This is the layers editor. And if we open the job in there, this is where you will find it. So the PCB thickness. And just like the ones with the color, or if you change something on the stack up, what you will see is that making a modification to this, doing a save and getting back will actually launch a partial rerun of the job, but still it would take some processing time to incorporate this new thickness. And again, as I said, that is why we are currently doing this exercise to bring everything together in the place where it belongs, so that or where it makes sense and where it's most logical, so that it can actually contribute to having to do one rerun of the data or a partial reanalysis of the data to get everything in place that needed a manual input afterwards. I'm going to leave it without processing. We will use this job for something else later. So this is the layers editor. Next thing is something similar. We have been adding in various editors inside Nexus. We have been adding the ability to look into text files or text information, I should say. It needn't be real text files. Also PDFs, for instance, can be opened from the various editors in Nexus. The reason being quite simple. There are many cases and many locations inside the software where you would actually want to know and to see certain pieces of information. If you think of the layers editor, the one that we just talked about, somewhere in your documentation files, maybe there is going to be a specification of the thickness, so your 1.6 may need to become 2.0 millimeter or whatever. The stack up information, if it's not evident for the software to find out itself or for the operator to see what this layer stack up is about, very often in documentation files there will be some information on the stack up. So while you are in the layers editor, you want to be able to read this information to make sure that your board is stacked up correctly. Same thing for the copper thickness. Very often, if not always, in one of these documents, the CAD or the designers will have specified that your inner layers need to be with 17 micron copper and not something else, and so on and so forth. Another very typical case is in the drill editor, where if the tools were somehow hidden in a PDF file or the tool information was not picked up automatically, at some point you want to be able to add these drill sizes manually. And so you want to go into the drill editor, and from there you again want to have access to one of these documents where these sizes are going to be specified, where it's going to be said whether a tool is plated or non-plated, what are the tolerances, and so on and so forth. Same could be said maybe for the sizes editor. In the sizes editor, you may find information as to how this board must be delivered, whether it's going to be a one-up or an assembly panel. Maybe there is information there about the panel size or even the single PCB size, so that you can verify. There might be things in there concerning the rail information, so the borders around the edge. So that's a third place where typically you may want to have access to any of the data files that or the textual files that come with the archive. And that's something that we didn't offer in the initial version of Nexus. So that is now really making a big step forward in the direction of an integrated and an industrialized environment where you can work efficiently and which leaves an agreeable and a pleasant user interface. The way to move around in these Nexus editor, the way to move between a text version and let's say an image version is in the top right hand corner, as we will see in a minute. You have these two icons, and one is the icon that will give you access to text, and the other one is information, or the icon that will give you access to the graphical information. Think of a Gerber file. A Gerber file can represent an image, and you may want to look at the image, but maybe you also want to look in the header text-wise to see, I don't know, to see any information that is of relevance. So if we would go back to our Integr8tor Nexus here, I think there was something with, there it is. Text file access. So if we would take, for instance, this one, it has no tool sizes were found, continuing with zeros, and then the same one for the plated and the non-plated. So this is a case where the system actually wasn't able to grab any tool sizes. So what we do, or what you then want to do or be able to do, is take this job, in this case in the drill editor, because we are talking about the drill sizes, so the tool sizes, and then go and find yourself where this information is. So you see that by default, the system will do a display like this, and basically in previous versions of Nexus, that was the only display that you had available here. So you would be able to see what is the job and what are the drills and that sort, but you wouldn't have any access to any text files. So that has now changed, and if we go back here and we would go through the documents, you would have something like this or something like that, which is not what we are looking for. And then there is this PDF. So this one comes as PDF and is also visualized in here. Doesn't really look. And then I think in the third one here, there it is. This is basically the information that you are after. So really, with this being displayed on the right hand side and your tool sizes here on the left hand side, it's now actually very straightforward to grab them from here or to see them from here, to enter them in this list here. Now this is this is actually a little bit complicated still, because it goes with symbols and a drawing. So maybe you want to have a step back so that you can see both the table and this thing, and that you can by reference here, that you know which is which, or you go by quantity, as people will sometimes do in that case, because the quantities is one of the columns that you have here. So you can use the comparison with the number of drill hits, if they are unique, and if not, you will work your way through this in that particular way. Let's just do this for one. We are looking at so there is 1, 2, 3, which are plated. So in the terminology here, this is going to be the TM, the true metal. This is a French one. And then these ones are the true non-metal. So there is this one which has 6 hits and is plated, and that will probably this will probably these plated ones, number of hits 6. So it has to be a 0.9. So what we do then is we go from here and we say 0.9. If you switch to this one, as you see, while you are doing the input here of the tool sizes, the sizes will become visible in the graphics display as well. So, I mean, it's not that you have to go to and fro each time, but just to give you a feel for it. So basically, you can stay with this table and work your way through this list here, making sure that the plated and the non-plated are being qualified the way they should. And then once it's done, maybe you can have a quick look to see if all of this makes sense. And if it does, you just save your changes and out you go. Right. This was an example from the drill editor, but as I said, the same text viewing capabilities are available almost in all of these other editors. So that's really a very nice and I think useful feature to incorporate. Let's go back to our presentation. We were here. Next thing that we want to have a quick look at is the drawing area, the unified info display. Now this is something that has reached us as a feedback from people who are not set up to work in millimeter, so the metric mode. So a number of people, US, UK, came back to us saying that basically in here, in the drawing area, there is this sort of, maybe we can quickly go back and take this one. I'll take it into whatever editor, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take it to the layers editor, for instance, and put it into view mode. Let's see. There is this toggle query function here, and what it is going to do is basically it's going to, as soon as you hover over objects, regions or draws or whatever, it's going to bring up details like the query object. For those of you who are familiar with UCAM, the query object function in UCAM, something similar. Now, in previous versions, what we had is if your server was set up to work in Imperial mode, you had a mixture of information here. Some of the information was in millimeter, and other information was in mil or in inch. So that has been streamlined, and of course, this makes it a whole lot easier for people in that situation. We believe it definitely adds comfort and efficiency while doing their work. Not to mention the reduced risk maybe of making mistakes if you have to take down coordinates and sizes, and some of them are in one unit and the other ones in another. So that's being ironed, or has been ironed out, sorry, and you now have a clean unified unit from the drawing area, depending on how your server is set up to run. Another thing that adds to the user experience, I would say, is the highlighting and the improved readability. As you may know and probably have seen, sometimes items are being marked by the system as saying, please have a look at this layer, or I'm not sure about the plating of this tool. So these jobs to do's that you sometimes get when processing an archive. What we have is an sort of system with a small dot in front of the items that require attention. It's a sort of traffic light system. If the software is completely unsure about what it has to be, it will put a red dot. If it's slightly or partially convinced that what it has put there as a value is probably the right one, then you will get the orange one. And if as a user you have given a user input, later on if you return to the editor in question, like this is a screenshot of the drill editor with the tools, then you will see it as green, indicating that this information has been put in by a user. We have opted for this system because in previous versions we were doing this with highlighting the background of the cells, but whatever we tried, it always sort of impacted on the readability. It became, and certainly depending on the resolution, sometimes the text that was written in there became very hard to read. So we've discovered that basically the best contrast is given by the white text in these normal cells, let's say, and that's why we have moved the system of flagging items as being requiring attention, that we have moved this away from the cell itself, and that there is now a slight or a small dot in front just to attract the attention. So it's quite discreet, yet very noticeable. If you look at the list, they immediately stand out from the rest. So it's very clear what you need and what you want to do. And this makes, of course, for a better readability and an enhanced look and feel. That brings us to the next one in the additions to Job Manager and Job Adjuster. And the next one is really a new one. It's called Job Notes. And what it is, it's a sort of mini editor which allows you to leave textual information with the job. Textual information, like in my case here, there is a user or an operator who has left a message, and this message will then find its way either on QED PDF in the comments section, as you can see here, and it will also travel in QED XML for automated processing. So whatever is put in here is going to become part of the job, and it will then feature in all the or in the QED PDF and the QED XML outputs. If we would do this from the software, I will bail out here. The editor is here. It's Job Notes. It's basically the second from the top. You click on it and you have this little window where information can be left. Important to know and nice to have, I'd say. This is also one of these, just like the text spec editor, this is one of the editors that can be accessed and used while the job is running. So you needn't wait until a job has completely finished. You can actually, as soon as you know or have the information that you want to put in there, you can do this while the job is still going. I also know that a number of you people are actually using a similar system in Cockpit, where this information source, you could say, is actually not filled by an operator typing in some comments, but it actually is done by a tray script. So at the end of a job processing, I know that a number of you people have scripts that will then do a quick analysis of the QED, looking for the smaller string, looking for really the key features, 4 or 5, and then just these 5 are per script being copied to this area of information. Well, exactly the same can be done for this job notes. At the end, if you have such a script attached to one of the trays, you can actually instruct it to do exactly the same, and that will then become part of the job notes. Okay. Let's go back to the, where were we? I think this is the one that we want. Yes, it is. To the presentation. So this was the job notes, the new editor. Then there is something new with the panel results viewer. As you probably know, There are two types of panel calculation modules in Integr8tor. One is called production panel analysis, and it's basically standard. Everybody has it. It's included in the basic package. And then there is dynamic panel optimizer, which is a licensed option. We have extended our Nexus panel results viewer, which is basically the one here. If we have this job, for instance, usually at the bottom, well, depending on which editors you want to hide, but usually at the bottom you have this DPO results viewer. And what is going to happen now is we have actually made it in such a way or reworked it in such a way that this viewer, this single viewer, can now display the results list from either the production panel analysis, so the standard default package that belongs to every Integr8tor installation, or if it's available, that it will display the results from the dynamic panel optimizer. The switch, which one to display, is basically the presence of the license. So if the dynamic panel optimizer license is not available, then we will display in here the results from the normal one. If the DPO license is available, like in my case, I'm running this system with a DPO license enabled, then what we will do is we will show the results of the DPO panelization. And the DPO panelization results are characterized by these things here, where you can actually have a live view of the image from the, this is the assembly panel level, and this is the production panel. And if you have a sheet, material sheet option installed as well, then this would be the view on the sheet. Yeah. This level of sophistication where assembly panels or shipping unit assembly panels are being calculated to have a best fit into a production or a fabrication panel to have a best fit in a material sheet, that is typically functionality of the DPO that is not available in the basic license. So if you don't have the DPO option, a number of these boxes here and these results with yields concerning single image into assembly panel and then assembly panel further on into fabrication. Those details, those statistics will obviously not be available. They will not be around because they are simply not calculated in the basic module. And then what you will have is then just a view of your fabrication panel, a list of fabrication panels as you have cared to set up in your, what is it, panel config.xml file, I believe it is. So that will just give you then the list here, and by clicking on one of these items here, you will just see a fabrication panel each time. Whereas, as I said, with the DPO license installed, it's the higher end version of panel calculation. You will have a lot more detail. But whatever the case is, whatever the case may be, whether you have one license or the other, you will now always find your results from either of these two modules. You will find them into this DPO results viewer. Again, as we said, the decision what to display is based on the presence or the absence of the DPO license. By the way, the image that you see here, this is the image that you would get in combination with the production panel analysis, so with the with the standard options. The standard option, you have a number of production panels here, and then each of the resulting fills for any of these predefined panels. So that gives you, of course, one single interface where you can review all the panel yields and also select the optimum panel solution. That is, in the end, what you want to do. The system has calculated a number of options for you, but then as a user, you want to tick one of these solutions that is being presented here, or one of the solutions which is being presented here. So that too is now all done from the panel results viewer, the Nexus client, which is or has been designed to view the panelization results. This gives, of course, the advantage that there is the same logic and the same operation. The method to work with the software is now the same, whether you're DPO or you're with the basic version, and you always have the same look and feel, which is, I think, a big step towards ease of use and easier understanding. If you need to bring in new people, it makes it, of course, easier. You don't have to start explaining, yes, but in case of this, you have this editor, and in case of something else, no, it's always there and it's always operated into the same way. Sorry. And of course, on the outside, it gives a much more robust and industrialized feel. Sorry. That brings us to the layer visualization function, which has also been reworked based on feedback from Nexus users that we had. And in fact, I'm going to combine this with the other thing which comes after this, which is the quick job outline creation. First, about this visualization, there was as we know, Nexus editors, they are able to display several layers simultaneously. It's a little bit like UCAM, where you put your green on top of your red, and then you have mixed colors and that sort of work. And in our initial version, there was a system to assign a color to a layer, but it was felt as being not or let's say suboptimal in terms of operating it. It did the job and it was all right and there was nothing wrong with it. But in terms of getting speed while you were trying to check layers quickly, a number of suggestions were made to make this better, and that's what we have done in this version. So it's now become much simpler to put a layer in color 1 and then the next one in color 2 and color 3 and so on and so forth. It's basically if a layer is not displayed, so like the solder mask here doesn't have a color dot, simply by clicking on it, the software will take the next available color. And if 1, 2, these 3 are already taken, this is color 1, this is color 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in that order, the system will be assigning itself the next color, the next color, and the next color. If, on the other hand, you click on the color dot, so a layer which already has a color, if you click it again, then you will be just hiding the layer. So the color will be taken away from that layer and it becomes available again for assignment to something else. We will see this in a second. Action speaks louder than words, and this is no exception to this rule. The original system that I just mentioned that we had is also still there, but we have hidden this under the right-hand side mouse button. So it's still possible to work like the way before, but we believe that with this new system, there will be people will be much keener on using this system. As I said, I want to show this in the software, but in combination with this feature here, which is also new from our Integr8tor presentation before. You may remember that there is an outline editor as one of the editors, and this outline editor now has been extended to be able to do a quick job outline creation. Normally, Integr8tor finds the outlines automatically, but sometimes when it's not found, there is now an easy way to add an outline layer to the job without necessarily going to UCAMXWE. I mean, you still can. Obviously, UCAMXWE is still around. And if you want to do a fully fledged outline creation with odd shapes and God knows what, then definitely UCAMX WE is still the place. This one here, the quick one, is basically always rectangular, and it's basically a quick and lightweight method for the cases where more or less good will do. So it's potentially not aimed at being giving you or making an outline which is accurate to 1 micron precise. But if you say, look, I'm getting here, what's a typical example? I'm getting here a panel input. So the incoming Gerber files is already a panel, but I want to do the analysis, for instance, just on one image. And then to do this, you just want to make a quick outline around the part that you're interested in, then this is definitely an easy alternative to the full-scale UCAMX WE outline creation. Let's give this a try. Back to our application here. What was it? There it is. This is a job for which no outline has been found. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to the outline editor. And in the outline editor, you see the display as the normal display in many of these Nexus editors. And at the bottom here, you have a section where we will be able to create an outline. So the first thing that I'm going to do is with this plus here, I'm going to add an outline layer, an empty outline layer in this case still. And at that point, I can say, or I can tell the system whether I'm going to do a single image or an assembly panel outline. And for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to stick with, I want to do something here around the bottom image. So then the next thing is maybe I want to go and see if there are any layers that can help me to give me a guide in terms of creating this rectangle. Of course, the very easy way would be I'm going to do this. And that corresponds to what I just said. If more or less is good enough, then basically that's fine. What you do is you save and you let the system process, and it will disregard anything else. However, what you also may want to do is see if there is a layer that is going to help, and typical layers that can help are things like this, a drawing layer, or maybe, who knows if we're lucky, a route layer. And this, for instance, this route layer gives me the opportunity maybe to do this a bit more careful and more exact. This is the drawing area. This is DPF data, so I can easily zoom in and get to get a closer view on this. I could basically just repeat what I just did and do something like this, which is already going to be better. So now I have made the rectangle more accurate, let's say. And still, if I wanted to be absolutely correct, you see that there is sizes and offset fields here when I create the outline. One of the things that you could do is, for instance, measure from here to know the X dimension, and that is 74. So if you would just do here 74, enter, and that should give me a length of 74. Sorry, I want to go here. And then in the other direction, we can do the same thing. If we measure objects between here and here. Then we have our 45. So that would give me the exact dimension. And as you see here, there is also the 0-point marker. So what I then could still do is shift this a little bit. Probably in X, this just wants to be on 0. And in Y, if we do a measure from here to here again, we have 8 and then plus the 2 millimeter of the aperture of the route. If we would put this at 10, then basically this is an accurate rectangle, which is basically going to do the exact cutout, except for these bumps here, of course. Again, if these were needed, if these were required to be part of it, then what you would do is, since this editor just gives you the rectangle variant, then you would take your data to UCAMX WE and make sure it's being done from there. What I haven't done, sorry about that, is the system with the colors. While this job is reprocessing, maybe we can quickly go back. I'm taking it now to the layers editor, but the principle is the same. So this is the standard view. There is no layer in a color. If I click on the first one, it's going to be red. If I click it again, because it's already colored, I'm taking it off. Okay, so if I take the next one, which is not colored, then it's going to go color 2, color 3, and so on and so forth. if I take this one off, my red will become available again for this one. Yeah. At the top here, we say reset planes, and then basically you just have your single layer left. The other system, as we were saying, is now I'm pressing the right-hand mouse button. That was the previous system where each time you have this pop-up with the 6 colors and where you can choose one from there. So if that still takes your preference over the other one, feel free to continue to use it. But as I said, we believe that this is the single click thing is something that is going to take off quite rapidly and will be appreciated by many a user. Okay, we don't need to do this. I'm going to like this. Right, where were we on the presentation? This was the quick job outline creation. The last one is basically something that concerns people who are well, probably many of you. Very often you have these contracts with your clients where you are obliged to make sure that the data doesn't leave your premises or doesn't leave the network. Now, one of the functions in Nexus or an integrator is uploading a job to your Camco, which basically violates one of the clauses in this confidentiality issue. So we have now made it possible that admin users can actually take away this send problematic job to your Camco, so that indeed an operator by mistake or for whatever other reason is not tempted or cannot be triggered into making data go out of your of the premises or of the network. So that's something, as I said, for those of you who deal with audits and security-related visits on a regular basis. This concludes the part with the Nexus extensions. The last things I want to show you or just briefly mention here is the thing with the Gold Edge connector. Gold Edge connector recognition is something that we have had also for quite some time. But still, it's something that you want to be as good as possible in the sense that gold deposition is probably one of the prime cost factors when it comes to making a quotation. So the correct identification of a connector is pretty vital, as is the accuracy with which the surface value of the connector is being calculated, so that the amount of gold, for instance, if it's a gold edge connector or gold plated connector, can be calculated meticulously accurate. What we do now that we have reviewed and revised our engine is we will now pick up a much wider range of edge connectors, and with a wider range it means that we will recognize connectors that have variations in their pad pitches inside the connector, that have variations in length, so shorter pads combined with longer pads, or like I think in the example on the next slide, which have actually no pads at all. So this one, for instance, is one which is basically made of contour, and still it will be picking this up. Largely also with the help of something that we have introduced along with the same review of the machine, and that is the fact that the assignment of the function gold, which is a layer type, sorry, this column here, which is a layer type and integrator, if you assign the function gold to a certain layer, what it will now do is it will go and look into the underlying copper layers in that area, and it will make use of the gold location indicator, let's say, to go and find the correct items that are going to be gold clad. The assignment of this function gold is something that can either go manually as an operator. If you see in your stack up of your layers that there is something in its name that relates to gold, as an operator you can set this, but we have also extended the ability or extended the possibilities rather of our rename scripts, so that also from a rename script, if you would have a list of known names that people tend to use to designate a gold layer, you can actually incorporate this into your rename scripts, and then the job or this particular layer will automatically end up with the function gold, and as a result, gold edge connectors might be recognized much easier, I think. One of the examples that we had there is also in here. If I would take this one to the layer editor, maybe we could actually do this on layer 1, and if we take the zoom here, I think that's the one that we just saw there with the yeah, with the combination of shorter paths. I believe this is even, so this is flash, but this is, for instance, contour. So it's not even just a combination of shorter and longer paths. It's also partly contour and partly with flashes of different sizes. So it almost looks like bricks in a wall, as you can see here. Okay, we go. What is next? Basically, for the things that I wanted to show and talk to you about here in this presentation, I think we are through, or I am through. Please have a look at the release notes for full details on some other things that have gone into this release. There is uh, almost classic, I would say. We have again put great effort in doing automatic recognition, stack-up recognition improvements, sorry, both in recognizing layers by their names or by their function descriptions in some text files, all items and cases that you have cared to register with us at the hotline, but also in drill spans for a correct analysis. That is equally important, that if you have a product with multiple drill files, that you have the correct from and to, so that the rings are correct and that you don't have any false negatives in terms of rings that are missing, that sort of thing. Equally important for an analysis, and again something that has taken considerable further improvement, is our outline recognition engine. There too, you will find a number of cases which are now being picked up automatically, where they used to be manual interventions. We have fine-tuned the testable points, which is an entry on the QED to make it more accurate and more precise. You will find more information as to what exactly has been done in the release notes. And then there is, as we said, the admin's corner. Also in the release notes, you will find the descriptions of the Apache Tomcat upgrade to the version and what sort of vulnerabilities it patches. Of course, Apache Tomcat is not our product, it's incorporated in our system, but we have taken this to the level which deals with a number of known security flaws that were registered then with Apache Tomcat. So as far as that goes, that should be okay again. And something that you do not see, which is under the hood as well, is this WMIC, the Windows Management Instrumentation Command Line. It's a piece of software which is used, or which we use in any case, during installation and setup, particularly when your integrator has to run as services and a number of other areas. We use the tool WMIC, but as you will read, WMIC is on its way out. Microsoft has started the path to obsolescence, and the new one, PowerShell, is replacing it gradually. There is, I think, the release notes, they show some sort of fade out scheme that Microsoft is currently presenting or suggesting. So a timetable at which point it will no longer be available. Having said that, we have anticipated and we have made sure that all WMIC related code has been reviewed and is now the same thing is now being done in PowerShell. So that should be one worry less for you. the IT departments out there. And then, as always, there is always also the list with the fixes that items that you have cared to flag with us with our hotline, and that our R&D has patched or remedied in this version. So if you haven't done so already, hurry up to the download section. I would say it's there to be had, the new version. I hope you will enjoy it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I like to thank you for watching it and for choosing a Ucamco product, and we'll be back later this year with more. Thank you. Bye-bye.